Welcome to News 9 Live, and you are watching On Point with me. Before I introduce you to today's On Point, let's take a quick look at the headlines. Israel's defense minister hints at Lebanon ground invasion as Hezbollah deputy says group will fight on. Putin says Russia will accomplish all goals set in Ukraine as it hits Kyiv with a wave of drone attacks. Top Republicans disavow Trump's mentally disabled attack on Harris. ED books Siddaramaiah in Muda-linked money laundering case. Government extends ASPA in all the hill districts of Manipur for another 6 months. In Haryana, leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi brings up Agniveer, Adani and MSP to attack BJP. Maharashtra government declares cow as Rajya Mata ahead of poll, cites its cultural importance. Supreme Court questions Chandrababu Naidu's claim on Tirupati Laddu adulteration, says at least God should be kept away from politics. Mallikarjun Kharge's comments on Prime Minister Modi absolutely distasteful and disgraceful, says Amit Shah. Welcome to On Point. Today, we will discuss the current hostage crisis in Manipur. The hostage crisis marks a turning point in Manipur unrest as Kuki-militants are now demanding the transfer of 25 to 30 inmates lodged inside Imphal jail to Churachandpur. The numbers are not important, they can be 10, they can be 15, but the demand has come. Earlier, the demand included the transfer of Mark T. Haukip, who has been demanding a separate state, but it seems that demand is not being pressed upon now. The gentleman who has been lodged in prison was prosecuted by NIA. 3 Meitei youths were abducted by the Kuki-militants last week. 1 person was released and 2 are still hostages. One of them wanted to appear for recruitment for paramilitary forces. Unfortunately, 3 of them took a wrong route and landed deep inside Kuki-dominated area. Instead of travelling on National Highway 37, they ended up taking the National Highway to Dimapur. Sources have confirmed to News 9 that senior police officers have reached Kangpokpi to negotiate the release of the remaining Meitei youths. Now, before I get into the detail of the story, let's listen into the Chief Minister Biren Singh on the ongoing hostage crisis in the state.
Mayam punamak ngasi netai rabot ki samaga kunipalak suba mapok numisda Manipur ki miyam amadi bharat ki miyam da yai pe paujal pijari mana ningjaramba khanjaramba Manipur Bharat madu oinanaba ekoi punna langna minasi hona minasi haiba na sejma pijari aduga hojik hongmong sariba thodok sigi matangda yamna laibak thiba thodong ni ekoi moi ahum gi manungda amadi numituda dum thadore aduga ani mo hojik phawba Kuki-militants singdugi khutta leiri ekoi center amadi state government ayuk nungthin nungdang pau phaunaraga yam kanna soiba ngamba yaugna ni dusu thadorona ba ekoi contact taunari wari sanari loinana wari sanabaga loinana sarkar sigi tawbom thokpa sarkar amagi tawbom thokpa adu makoi bu tekta kaidana hado hanaba mali rescue tonaba both center mali state ani sangna kan hona minari adu na militants singi custody da laikraba isa singdugi imung manung singsu matam khatang puning phathana laibina bai ko yam kanna honari hujing maksu koi DG masa hariba mafam duda district salaga bari hotai tonaba thakre adna soidana am positive oiba lambirom da lakani haibagi thaja bai koi da lai adu mayam punna isor khurminasi haidana mayam da apel togjeruga government ki side ge koi tawaya ba media da haibaya da mayam le to tawaya ba lambi khudima thiraga koi honori haidana da mayam da I khanganjari.
What are the demands, sir? Will you tell me regarding all this?
Demands exact shini haiba hoy khara moigi inmates khara mafam ship taunaba khona hairapale adubu just government is trying to release them unconditionally and unharmed. आज हीरापुर जी का 128 जन्मदिन है. इसमें हम सब देशवासियों को और मणिपुर का सिटीजन पीपल्स सबको जन्मदिन का बधाई देता हूं और उसका जो what he wanted to be वो हिसाब से हम मणिपुर को बनाने के लिए हम जारी है और my best wishes to all the people of the state on this very particular Irapoti. You see, I have already spoken in my particular. One has already released unharmed, and the state government and the central governments both are trying very hard to rescue them safely. And we are also sending the DGP to the district to talk with the concern so that the boat can be released unharmed. Till they are released safely, we cannot say anything, but we are trying our best to rescue them, to release them unharmed.
There are four big issues involved here. Can the abduction be a turning point? Event in the Manipur crisis. Second, what action should the centre and state government take? What should be the deterrence? There has to be deterrence. Is it time to de-weaponize the entire state? Now, in this discussion, I am joined by Brijesh Pandey, input editor, News9, Major General Ashwini Siraj, Dr. Thangzup Tombing, Assistant Professor, National Law University, Colonel Shantikar Sapam, Spokesperson, Meitei Heritage Society, P.K. Mishra, former IG BSF. Now, to set this debate up, Brijesh, how do we look at this chain of event?
Well, I think it's a worrying change because right till now there has been violence from both sides. Guns have been fired, people have lost life. But as earlier, the usage of drone was a worrying point. I think one ethnicity or people from one ethnicity being held hostage is a very worrying reflection because it cannot be like only one ethnicity can do this and the other ethnicity can't. And if the other side also decides to do this, and then it will be virtually like holding the stage to hostage and ransom. And I think there should be a proper crackdown, and those two gentlemen should be extricated from the custody of the militants who have abducted them. And most importantly, I don't think that any demand, irrespective of how innocuous or how big it is, it should not be met, come what may.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will set a very dangerous and worrying
precedent. That's the opening statement. Mr. Shanti Kumar Sapam.
Hanji.
Yes.
What I feel is, the government will have difficulties in deciding what to do, but
if those people, if those inmates in Imphal, if they are Kuki, the government has to decide whether they are Indians or they are, infiltrated people. But if they are from these people, from this country, let's say from Manipur originally, they were inmates for what? Basically, that is number one. Inmates for what type of crime they committed? That is number one. And every life is important. What I would like to say is every life. In the past also, when VP Singh was the prime minister, there was a, kidnapping took place, and then daughter of the home minister, I will not name now, but it's all known. Daughter of the home minister was also released, though there was a lot of hue and cry. But I would say that every life is important, and the government, the center as well as the state government, they must analyze and see what type of crime they committed. Those inmates I'm talking about, what type of crime they committed, and if they are not so severe, saying, yeah, I don't think if they are kept here also, no problem. I think that if it is at Churachandpur also, I feel, one has to see the gravity of the situation. But as far as I'm concerned, all Indians, every Indian's life is important. This is what I would like to submit.
That's
And
that's the opening statement. Let me take opening statement, Mr. Sapam, then I'll come back to the question. It's a four set of question. Dr. Tombing, to you.
The incident of the abduction, it's quite ironic in the sense that 1 month back, there was this ex-army man, Mr. Limlal Meitei. He seems to have went out of track and then ventured into Meitei area, and he was beaten to death. And he happens to be an ex-army man. And these three youths, where they lost their track and then they were abducted. And the reason for them being wandering in that area was to appear before SSC GD Army recruitment. The coincidence that happened after 1 month, it's quite ironic also. And plus, what Professor Bimola Koizam has said, to avoid embarrassment of Intel U-turn reports and uncertainty over 2 were arrested, but then 1 came back, something like that. So this is hard to comment on. And then, in fact, like Mr. Sapam has said, every life is precious, because whenever a person is abducted and then, or whenever a person is put in a situation of threat and danger of life, the person only knows how difficult, how challenging that particular situation for him at that particular point of time.
Okay. Mr. Mishra, your opening comments on this?
Yes, yeah. Karthike, I can well tell that this is a situation exactly like that, what happened by Hamas on 7th October last in Israel. We have gone to that extent of abducting personnel. And I tell you, Johnson, the third person, when he came back, he was really beaten very badly. He was thrashed, and everywhere he had injury marks on his body. This shows the way they have planned. Of course,
Mr. Mishra, why are you comparing it with the Hamas?
Yes, but absolutely, I will compare it, because you see, what they have asked. They have asked Mr. Hakim to be released, and other members, those who are there in Imphal jail, to be transferred to this Churachandpur jail. It is again like another Kandahar incident. What has happened? And this is what is happening in Manipur. And I'm telling you, of course, I have every hope that what Honorable Chief Minister has told, that they will take it up and they will ensure that these 2 Meitei boys will be brought back safely. But in the meantime, I'm telling you, like Musa, we have to have complete field intelligence of Churachandpur and those areas, Kankopi and those areas where they might have hidden these two boys. We have to find out the intelligence, field intelligence from these areas. It can only be done by the local police. They may be cookies also. We have so many cookies in Manipur police. It's not that they are not working. They are the person who will be coming to you. And the second force is Assam Rifles. Those who have handled in those areas, field areas, they have utilized their time and they have operated. It is only Manipur Kuki police and also Assam Rifles. They are the best to find out the field intelligence where these two boys will be hidden. And certainly the government should not allow what they have demanded. Those kidnappers, what they demanded that Mr. Mark Hakim to be released and the other those who were apprehended by the military should be transferred.
Just to put this on record, my sources tell me that right now the demand is only for transfer of the inmates. Right now. The demand is only of the transfer of the inmates. I'll come to you, Mr. Mishra. Let me take opening comment from General Sivach. Sir, your opening comments. How do you see the situation?
Kartike, very unfortunate. One can say with certainty that, both the communities, whether it is Kuki or Meitei, that there is a total trust deficit. Now, as far as this three inmates which were basically taken as hostages, one has been released, two are still with the Kuki militants. Now, the point is the demand, in case we feel that this demand is of movement of these inmates from Imphal to Churachandpur. But the moment you accept the demand, then this will open a Pandora box. You will find such activities occurring very fast in Manipur from both sides, whether it is Kuki and Meitei. Here, this situation is slightly different. My take is this is not Jammu and Kashmir. It is Manipur, where the government is in control to an extent. Kuki and Meitei both understand they are part of India and they are ready to obey the orders. So the point, in case if they have been taken by the Kukis, I'm sure the pressure can be put through the social society as well as through the police, through Assam Rifle and various means, so that these two hostages can be released. There is no denying the fact the life of these two hostages is very, very important. These Meitei boys must come back. They have unfortunately lost the track and they have been abducted. But certainly, in case we meet their demand, whether it may be innocuous looking demand, that is not the issue. The issue is the moment you meet a demand, you have surrendered yourself. And then this will open a new Pandora box in Manipur, and you'll find the other community also doing exactly the same way. So we have to be very, very diplomatic in handling this. We know the life of these two boys are very important. At the same time, you cannot surrender yourself to the terrorist and to the militant. So via media has to be found out. I'm sure.
General Sivach, isn't that such a tough call? If you recall the controversy over that OTT platform IC814, in which some file footage was also used, IC814, that Kandha plane hijacking. The books have been written on it. There was an issue of national security, but there were also persistent pressure by the relatives of those who were stuck in that plane. And the government of that day had to deal with the phenomena of live TV for the first time when the hijacking had taken place, of how to secure India's national interest, but also to take care of those people whose lives are at stake. मतलब ये यक्ष प्रश्न है जनरल साहब, पर ये बहुत मुश्किल होता है कि अपनों की जिंदगी भी बचाना और देश की सुरक्षा को भी बरकरार रखना.
थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है कार्तिकेय. This is not Kandhar. It is in Manipur. Both Kuki and Meitei are your citizen. The government of India controls.
No, you mistook me. Mistook me. No. I'm not comparing it with Kandhar. I'm just saying, when we say lives and national security, I mean, so this is a really tough job for any government.
Absolutely.
That's the limited point I'm trying to make. That's it.
Yeah, I understand. Karthik, my take is simple. That point is there is a distrust between Kukis and Meitei. There is no distrust from the government to the Kuki or Meitei. You have so many mechanisms to ensure that these life of these two chaps are safe. You use your all other means, intelligence agencies, police, Assam Rifle, or the social seniors, so that these chaps can be brought back. My take is, do not accept the demand. They may be innocuous looking, because the moment you accept a demand like this in a situation in which we are going through a Manipur, it will open a Pandora box. It will start from the other side also. And then where is the end? Where do you stop? So the question is that this is a very different situation. Both Kukis and Meiteis are our own citizens, and they will accept certain things. There will be a pressure from the government, from the civil agencies. I am sure we have a mechanism where our agency would have contacted them and trying to persuade them that this is not the interest of neither Kukis nor Meiteis. They must release them. I am sure there are mechanisms. And this is not the first time. I have seen such situation happening in Northeast earlier also, Manipur, also in Mizoram, Nagaland. I suppose it has to be tactfully handled. At the same time, we must be very alert and alive that the life of these two boys is very, very important. At the same time, we have to understand, if we as a state show a softness and take action of shifting these inmates from Imphal to Churachandpur, we are accepting a demand which is not genuine. Then it will start a Pandora box. So you have to be careful. I know a decision is not easy, but we have to be diplomatic in handling. I am saying the situation is very different. There are no terrorists here. Whether it is Kuki or Meitei, they are Indian citizen, and Indian government still rules that.
So the second set of questions, I'll start with Brijesh. Do you think it was because our sources are telling that they ran into the Kuki-dominated area and maybe village volunteers were involved there. Now, Kuki militants, village volunteers, whatever be the phrase, people with guns, in violation of the law, they abducted them. Do you think it was some sort of an impromptu local action, or do you think it was slightly organized, keeping in mind the demands that have come?
Well, I would not call it impromptu. Impromptu in the sense, in the limited sense that, that they were not anticipating these guys to come there. So impromptu in the sense that they seized upon the matter chance, and those three youths were abducted. And I think once the abduction process took place, then they realized that that the situation can be taken advantage of, and that is when the demand of shifting 35 to 40 prisoners who are lodged in Imphal jail to be shifted to Churachandpur. See, the point is that I will not go to the extreme of comparing it to the situation in Israel or what is unfolding there, as Mishra ji was saying. But one thing is there, that yes, this could be persuaded. These people can be persuaded, should be persuaded, by tact or by force, to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen. Otherwise, both sides are loaded with guns. Guns have been looted from the police armory. Guns are being supplied from outside the country. Guns are being improvised upon within the territory. And it's not like that there is a want for guns or bullets or sophisticated weapon, and both sides are loaded with it. So this situation, if you cede even an inch in these kind of situation, then it will lead to a big law and order and a security problem, because the other side would also realize that that this is a much easier way of getting your demands met, rather than going on the street and fighting. So I think the government must act very tough and crack down on the situation. Of course, I mean as it happens with any kind of negotiations, all kind of tacts and conversations will be used. Good officers or people who are known to both sides will be used to make sure that this is done without ceding any demand or without getting the situation aggravated. But this has to be nipped in bud. As I said, that there is no way you can allow any kind of messaging to go on that the government went soft or the handling was soft. Then it's like there's no stopping both sides from indulging in the same.
Colonel Sapam, again the same question to you. Do you think that it was an impromptu local action done locally, the Kuki militants at a local sector or village volunteer force, or do you think that there was a larger organization which tracked them, held them hostage, and now that these demands are being put to table? What does your experience tell you?
As per the interview given by the boy who has been handed over, he said that first some ladies they encountered them, and thereafter some boys also came. They spoke to some people, and then some boys with the came, and then they were immediately blindfolded and taken to different location, and thereafter it was all organized. And that is what I could make out from the interview of the boy. And as far as the present location of the boy is concerned, I think it must be with the organized parties as of now. And as far as the other aspect I would like to submit here is, like, for the inmates, I feel that the government should see the gravity of crime, what type of crime these inmates have done. And as it was floated in the WhatsApp before, and the information was taken out, that Mark Haukip was asked for in return, they were to be exchanged with him. So his organization and the activities what he had done, and for what he has been arrested, I think that is required to be seen, because when we say inmates, we do not know what type of inmates they are, what the Chief Minister has said, or what is the demand given by the cookies, basically. So, but finally what I would like to say is, as General Siwach also said, that those who are caught by the police for some nefarious activities and things like that, they are all Indians, basically, I would say. And if it is not like a person like Mark Haukip, he is basically looking for Jalangam forming a Christian state out of India. So if they are proved to be Indians in cookies, I would say, as by my personal understanding, shifting a jail from this side or that side, I think life is more important. That's it. That is what I would like to submit. It is life for both the communities, even for the cookies, for us. If it happens to them also, if it happens this side also, I feel life is very important. That is what I would like to say. And both the communities have to understand that if we have to stay in harmony, then we have the civil society also will have to understand. And that is what I say. If we are looking for thriving for peace in the state.
So you're saying that you think it was organized, it was not impromptu at a local level? Abduction.
The ladies have, see, these three boys, there are 3 Kachal Manbis in Manipur with the same name. So they went to the national highway taken by the Google, national highway going towards Dimapur. And over there, they must be having nakas made by the ladies and some people like that. So first they encountered the ladies, and thereafter they passed the message, and thereafter things are organized, and they have been shifted at different locations. And the boy who has been released, he said that he was blindfolded, and then Assam Rifles came and he was rescued like that. And
yes.
From place was not known. Actually, he did not know from where he was he was rescued.
Okay.
So after the encounter, and thereafter everything must have been organized, basically. That is what I would like to.
Okay. So okay, that's the way you see the larger movement of the 2 Meitei boys, and basically you are saying that the first part was somewhere that they intercepted them, but subsequently the movement and the way they changed the location, it looks like more an organized thing. Mr. Tambeng, the same question for you. My whole show is divided into 4 basic questions. The same question to you.
Okay. I would agree with Dr. Sapam for the very fact that these boys might have lost their track, and therefore where they intended to go, they did not go, and then maybe some people saw them, and then first they might have asked some question. I will give you a background of this. This Manipur war has been so traumatizing that in fact 2 times in my dream I happened to be in Imphal in my dreams. Another background to it is I have grown up in Imphal area from my childhood days, and in my dreams on 2 incidents I was in Imphal. I was moving around in my school areas where I have studied, and suddenly 1 or 2 person recognized me try to identify me and try to speak to me. And the moment I speak, the other person realized that I am not necessarily from the valley person. And that, even though was a dream, was very traumatizing. And therefore, what Dr. Sapam has said does have lots of weightage, because for the rest of India, physical features of Meitei and Kuki might be same, but for the inhabitants of Manipur, they could distinguish between who a Meitei is, who a Kuki, Tangkhul, Mizo is, from the way they walk, from their get-up, from their dress, their features as well. And sometimes, even if they are not able to make out from that, the language is the determining factor. So therefore, maybe I think this might have been an afterthought, and maybe some people came afterwards and then tried to take a mileage out of it, so that they may be able to put their demands, actually. And like I said earlier also, the irony that these people are going for army-related recruitment, and the irony that on September 1st, a Mate fellow, our next army Jawan, also lost track and then ended up in the hands of the other community and therefore dead. And therefore, in such a trying times, since there is no closure of the war as yet at the community level, in fact, people should be careful, take caution, and even if armies are deployed, police are deployed, every square inch cannot be protected. And therefore, it should be a conscious effort that people do not unnecessarily track into set, unset buffer zone, verified, erected, non-erected buffer zones also. Maybe this is where we have to take caution till a larger peace and security could be achieved.
Okay. Mr. Mishra, the same question to you, your assessment.
Yes, Karthikeya, I can well tell, I can visualize when DC Chandel was kidnapped. In Manipur, a very senior officer, DC Chandel, was also kidnapped by Nagas. This happened in 2002 when I was there also. And after that, I am looking into this aspect. This is the second one which I'm hearing after DC Chandel was kidnapped. And he was brought back unharmed. But how he was brought back, I don't want to mention it in this channel. But I know how he was brought back also. But here, definitely it is in the beginning, when these three boys, they lost the track and they went to the buffer zone. They were definitely the ladies, their talk with the ladies, it was impromptu, no doubt about that. But the second part of it, when they were caught blindfolded and taken to an unknown area, it is definitely by one organized gang for a proper motive. Their motive is very clear, for which the demand has been given. And I can well visualize that these persons, they may not be permanent residents of that place, or from Churachandpur or Kankopi or Kaithal Manvi. They may be actually inside of those who might have crossed the Chins. Quite a lot of them, they have crossed recently in last 1 month to this place to cause violence. And these are the handiworks of them. But we have to be very cautious in this case. It is not that how DC Chandal came back. But here, what happened, the life of these two mighty boys.
Mr. Mishra, can I ask you a question? Why did you mention the case of PC Chandel? आपने बोला मैं उदाहरण देता हूं पर कारण नहीं बताऊंगा, तो फिर उदाहरण क्यों दिया?
कारण नहीं, मैं ये नहीं बोला कि कारण नहीं बताऊंगा, मैं ये बोला कि उनको कैसे वापस लाया गया, ये मैं डाइवर्स नहीं कर सकता।
मत कीजिए, पर आपने उनका उदाहरण क्यों दिया?
मैं उदाहरण जानबूझ के दिया कि यहाँ होता है, ये हुआ भी है यहाँ पर। और ये डीसी चंदेल को जब लिए थे, ये मेरे को पता भी है, क्योंकि मैं तब इंफाल में था। तो इसलिए मेरे को ये पता है। और लेकिन वो जो लिए गए थे वहां पता था कि उनको जरूर ये वापस करेंगे, और उनका जो डिमांड था, ठीक है, वो डिमांड को शायद कुछ हद तक फुलफिल किया गया था। लेकिन यहाँ जो है, जो डिमांड है कि इनको शिफ्ट करो वहां पर, ये जितने 15 और 20% दो है, 35 to 40 those who are there in Imphal jail should be transported to Churachandpur jail. These are all under the handiwork of an organized gang and their militants. I am telling you, they are militants. I don't want to tell that they are Kuki-militants. They are militants, and they are now under their capture. They have been captured. We have to be very cautious, Kartikeya. In this case, I can well tell that our Nagas, those who are there, Tamil Nagas, they can be of a lot of use. And particularly the Manipur Kuki police, they are the best on this issue, who can find out, who can get the intelligence. And so also the Assam rifles, those who have really worked in the Imphal and this area, and Kopi, Churachandpur, Chandel and these areas, they will be of a lot of use. And we have to depend upon them. They have to penetrate to these areas and get field intelligence, and we have to see even the demands what they have given. Certainly, even under no circumstances, demand to be fulfilled. Otherwise, it definitely, I go with all the previous spokesmen. It will open Pandora box, and we should not go by that. What we have done with in Kandahar case, it was a big mistake we committed. So here we should not do that, but that doesn't mean that we should not bring back these two boys, the life of two boys. We must go very cautiously, and I'm telling you, getting intelligence from Chandel, Churachandpur, Kankope, Kaithal, Manvi, it's not a big issue. Definitely, if we want really, we'll get the intelligence. There is no problem as such. And it is the field intelligence, and then very cautious and tactical operation is required by Assam Rifles and Manipur Police.
Do you think it's going to be a short affair? Do you think, Mr. Mishra, do you think it's going to be a short affair or a long affair?
No, it will be a short affair. Yet I am telling you, if somebody has really operated, if the Assam Rifles or those battalions are available there who are operating in Manipur, in Churachandpur, Chandel, Kaithal, Manvi, Kaching and all, it is a very short span of thing. By 1 week they can be traced. We know also that it is very possible. It is possible, and they can do it within.
But the first, yes, the first gentleman was also released because of operation of the unit you just mentioned.
Definitely, this Chandel was brought back, and if this Chandel has been
not Mr. Chandan, the first gentleman was also brought back because of Assam Rifle.
Yes,
it's in
they
this
are
case.
The persons who are operating.
Yes.
They are the really
so the credit goes to them. Yes, okay, I'll come back to the credit goes to them. मतलब एक आदमी छुड़ाया है उन लोगों ने. General Sivaj, is it going to be a short affair or a long affair?
Kartik, I think it is going to be a short affair, and this can be handled in a very tactful and diplomatic manner. This is not a big challenge. Such type of eventuality do come in such areas, and one should understand that in case these two students which have been abducted, if they have been taken out from Manipur to Myanmar, then of course the situation becomes slightly tricky. But once they are here, you have all the privilege to go any place of Manipur. And very rightly brought out, the Manipur police has got its own intelligence. Assam Rifle has got a tremendous intelligence. I can tell you, they have an intelligence across also. So in case both of these work, we understand the life of these two students is very important. It sent a wrong message. How can we allow such a thing to happen? But at the same time, if you meet the demand of all these militant groups, then obviously it will start from both the side, and that will not be in the interest of the central government or in the interest of the state government. So there are many other mechanisms and methods. I'm sure it can be handled. Their demand, though, is not looking to be, quite a bit. Shifting inmates from one police station or one jail to another jail possibly not a big problem from Imphal to Churachandpur, until they have thought that if they move to Churachandpur, they can break the jail and they can run away. That is a very different thing, but certainly not. But if you do under pressure of the militants, then obviously it will also give an idea to other group. and where do you stop? So therefore, my point is twofold. One is the life of these two students is very important. They must be released. They should be able to come back by your tactful and diplomatic way, through police, Assam Rifle, and the civil society seniors in a manner without meeting the demand of the cookies now. If you meet the demand now, possibly it will send a wrong message and it will start a Pandora box, and which will not be in the interest of the country. Now, another issue, Kartikeya, is we must understand, after all, Assam Rifle, Manipur Police, for them there is no buffer zone. The buffer zone is only for Kuki and Meitei. Unfortunately, these people were staying together just about a year back, and today so much distrust has occurred that they are ready to kill each other. It's unfortunate, but it's a fact. And remember that in Indian Army, we have Kukis and Meiteis. They are living like brothers in Assam regiment and various other regiment. We have never thought that he's Kuki or Meitei. We only knew he's from Manipur. Now, unfortunately, such a situation occurred. It hurts our mind, and it also hurt anyone who's in uniform. What has happened? So I suppose, Kartikeya, two things are very important. Get the release of these two students by diplomatic and tactful manner, but at the no time meet the demand of these militants. If you meet the demand of one side, it will open a Pandora box, and you don't know where to put a stop.
Okay. So last set of question, again for all audience, this brings us to one thing. It tells us that lines are being held. Lines are being held by men who have weapons. Correct?
Absolutely.
And operations are not taking place in a unified way. Today is not the day to debate unified command. I really don't want to go there. But it just tells me, suppose these village volunteers had only placards and no weapons, would the situation be different? So isn't the time has come to completely de-weaponize the system?
Well, Kartikeya, this has been what we have been discussing right from day one. A weaponized society reflects two things. A, it's extremely dangerous, and B, and personally to me, these people are with far more, Mr. Mishra and General Sivach have it like 10 times more experience than I would ever have. But the fact of the matter is that a heavily militarized society also reflects one thing, which is their absolute lack of trust in the state. And it is a very, very disturbing sign, if you ask me. I think, both sides have armed themselves to teeth to make sure that if a situation arises, they will not have to trust the force, they will not have to trust the police, they can take care of themselves with the kind of weapons they have. And it's a very scary situation. Demilitarization or taking away of weapons has to be the topmost priority of the government as we speak. And until unless that happens, situation like these, improvisation happens. One day, one person can think of something out of the box, and it can further draw the entire state on the brink of, more violence, which is kind of less in the last 4 to 5 months. You never know. All you need is one chingari to make sure that the situation goes back to what it was 7-8 months altogether. So getting guns back is 100%, and the might of the law not being seen as either as a Kuki or a Meitei, being dropped like ton of bricks on those who are violating laws. These are the two quintessentials without which you can never do, irrespective of how so much verbal jostling we can do.
Colonel Sapam, do you agree with Brijesh, or you have a different point of view, sir?
No, this thing, weapon has to be, taken away from the civilians, basically. Weapon has to be taken away. There's no doubt about that. Whenever weapon is there, there cannot be peace. But what happened is, to do this kind of operations, the conditions has to be, made first. Round of various rounds of negotiations, dialogues with various dignitaries, and the border is open as of now. The border is completely open. And let me tell you, there is no force over there. Assam Rifle is managing the border. It's not guarding the border, but actually managing it's a border management basically. And across
Colonel Sapam, today the debate is not on AR. And you have served in army. Army officers, man, both of them. कोई फर्क नहीं है, एक ही चीज है.
Yes, absolutely. But the strength is not there. That is what I'm saying. The strength to man the border completely is not there. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And these things also have to be done. And then once and for all, do in the valley also, in the hills also, you completely seal it and then finish it, if possible. If the government, in the central government,
take back the weapons. Yeah, I agree with you. Seal the border.
Absolutely.
Seal the border.
Seal the border.
Do an NRC and take back the weapons. Kahin se bhi.
And we are all Indians. And those people, the chief minister had said, the nation has declared that in 1951 to be taken for everyone to be considered as, the citizen of India. The chief minister of Manipur has said 1961. Those who came before 1961, they are all citizens of India. He had announced this. There's no doubt about that. Every person who had come before 1961, we can agree that they are all citizens of India and Manipur. But those people who come after that, they are going to create a lot of problems. And both the communities have to agree to that. So I think if we agree to that, then there will be no clash. That is what I would like to say.
Okay. Okay, that's a good point. Mr. Tombing?
Yes. Whether the villagers were armed or not, if a civilian end up entering into the other communities zone at the moment, whether they're armed or not, it will be equally very dangerous and fearful also because of the type of...
Don't you think that the time has come to seal the border and disarm anyone who has got weapon? Disarm the state completely.
Disarming is very important. I think so. Disarming is very important.
Valley or hills, वापस सारे हथियार वापस करो.
Because if today a Meitei boy is abducted, tomorrow a Kuki-Zomi boy can also be abducted. Because
absolutely,
in fact, we can lose track, and then while we'll maneuver, and then we end up in the hostile environment. And once you are in that hostile environment, whether people are armed or not, as long as there's no closure between both the communities and hostility continues, it is as dangerous because you don't stand a chance against a majority who actually are not necessarily very happy to see you around that. And then now the positive part of this particular event is that Johnson got released. He's alive. Another thing is these two persons are alive and are able to send certain messages. Now, the third part of whether their demands are justified, whether government will look into it, all those things that has to be discussed at government level. But the positive that I'm taking out of it is that they are alive, one was released, two are alive, though at the moment taken hostage. If you remember, during the peak of the violence, Kuki-Zomi communities also have released 2 or 3 other hostages. At that time, the situations were very much at its peak. The mayhem was very much at its peak. Now, this incident, I'm not justifying any kind of an abduction. I'm seeing a gleam of light at the end of the tunnel because one got released and then 2 hostages are still there and then they're alive. Okay. Now, as long as these 2 persons are alive, it does says a lot about how far, in fact, situations have come. And if by God's grace or something happened and then they could return back alive, would it be a turning point in the mayhem which has lasted 1.5 years? Okay. It is something which needs to be, looked into with a bated breath.
Okay. Mr. Mishra, same question?
Yes, Karthik, I have spoken for the last 1 month. I am reiterating Manipur border with Myanmar has to be guarded properly, and a border guarding force, whoever may be, has to be placed immediately.
Weapons both from valley and hill area, all accounted and taken away, de-weaponized.
Whether it is cookies or Meiteis, both sides, it's high time that they have to be disarmed. There should be no buffer zone. But this village volunteer force cannot carry weapons. Certainly not. They have to be captured and they have to be asked by force. Force has to be utilized. There is no other option in Manipur, whether it is in the hills, whether it is in the plains. In both the sides, weapons are there, and we have to ensure to keep keep peace. The weapons have to be, they all have to be disarmed. They are not with only militants, they are with even civilians from both the sides. And there are few weapons taken away from police stations. All of them have to be immediately surrendered or authorized to be snatched from them. Intelligence must come up, field intelligence must come up, and our operations must continue. Counter-insurgency operation and cordon and search operations must continue for disarming all these militants and to get all the weapons in Manipur. They have to be recovered from the militants and the civilians.
Okay.
It is a high
Fair enough. Fair enough. General Siraj, is it possible? The question to you is it possible? What we desire, what we want is a desire, but is it possible?
But Karthike, effort has to be made. There is no other way. The point today is, very rightly, we have been discussing this issue. The first and foremost is the sealing the border between Myanmar and Manipur. Today it is a porous border, and very rightly brought out, was a more of a management. Now it is requirement of doing a fencing of the border. Free movement regime has to stop, and this border has to be sealed. It can't be sealed in a day. It will take time. Obviously, there is no doubt. And second issue is that there are about 7,000 to 8,000 weapons which were looted from police armory. They are not come back. They are still in the society. In addition to that, another about 8,000 to 10,000 weapons which are illegally have come from Myanmar to Manipur. So all these weapons are in society. Society is weaponized. Even the civilians are having. Very rightly brought out, they have lost faith in central agencies or state agency. They feel they will be their protector. The militants have become the protector of the civil society, which is unfortunate. What is the requirement of the day is, now we have to do a coordinated search operation, try to take out these weapons. Unless these weapons are not taken out from society, Karthike, you cannot expect any peace there. That's the first and foremost. Second thing is, be impartial. As on today, I feel we are moving on a right track. Only thing is that as on today, we have to understand intelligence-based, real-time intelligence carry out operation, cordon and search, and also both in hills as well as in valley. And try to also reduce the difference between both the society, Kuki and Meitei, by having more of a meeting with their seniors, so that we try to bring out this issue. How long you can have an enmity? After all, both are Indians, and we want that both are also belong to Manipur. I'm sure slowly and steadily this violence will come down, but violence cannot come down unless you do not take out these weapons from society.
I think these thoughts are very well put. I think the bottom line is that this hostage negotiation must end quickly. The hostage negotiation should take a right turn. It should not take a wrong turn. And I think that's the best way to put it.